going. Gotta catch those runners taking off like a Boeing. If the volume spikes, then it's time to trade. Mighty 90 setting up, it's time to get paid. Dr. Chad on the mic, time to get focused. We don't need any indicator, hocus pocus. It's all about the price, just watch it move. Manage your risks so you don't lose. First hour of trading is all we need. Focus on the patience and forget about greed.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's day trading live stream. Today's Wednesday, December 17th. The S&P is currently up 14 points. NASDAQ futures up 63, Russell up 6, Dow up 103, all about 0.25% higher from yesterday's close. Gold is up a little over 0.5%. Silver's up almost 4%. Silver continuing just to bust through all-time highs. Notes and bonds a little bit red. 10-year yield up about 0.33%. Oil's up 1.5%. Natural gas up 2.5%. Soybeans and wheat a little bit red. Corn a little bit green. Euro and the pound are both down slightly. And Bitcoin's pretty flat, a little bit green. 87,900 is its current mark. And the VIX contracting down about 3.5%. We did have a little shake and bake in the pre-market. I think that was probably around Waller, FOMC member Waller was speaking. Looks like about the time that he started opening his trap. Market started moving. So, but that's where we're at to start the day. As far as other trades, VIX contraction, so I'm not doing a 1DTE. I'm not doing any calendars today. So we'll start off just all focused on the day trades. As far as big movers pre-market, NBIS is up 3.5%, A-Lab's up 3.5%, Baidu's up 2.5%, Netflix is up 2%. MU is up almost 2%, AVGO up 1.5%, Hood up 1.5%, Amazon's up 1%. Tesla, which hit an all-time high yesterday, is gapping down a bit, about 0.33%, not much. Meta's pretty flat. MSTR is pretty flat. Biggest red on my board is Celsius and Oracle. Yeah, Oracle came out with some news here pre-market. They're not getting funded or something. I saw a headline. I didn't really pay too much attention, but they dropped pre-market here pretty aggressively, down about 2%. Good morning, Hondo. Good morning, Articulate. Good morning, Tony Montana. Opening bell in about a minute. Looks like the expected range in SPX will be a little over $34. We'll see what it looks like right at the open here. Yesterday was a little over 37. There's the bell. That looks like about 34.2. 34.2 is what I'll mark the expected move at. Oops. 34.2. Let's try that again. There we go. So that puts the lower end at 67.68. Upper end around 68.37. What just happened here? I just had some trades fill. Oh no. I just had... Oh. I had my O2 ratio diagonals still on. It's Wednesday. My FOMC trades. Ugh. That's not good. Let me turn those off. Tony, that's awesome. What kind of profession were you in for your real job that you're saying goodbye to? Well, I just closed out my O2 ratio diagonals for a few $100 loss. That was kind of a disaster. Small disaster. Okay. S&P, NASDAQ, not much movement. Russell's pushing. Russell acting the strongest. It's now up 0.5%. Oracle's continuing to fall through pre-market lows. Banks are acting strong. Circle and Coin are acting strong. MSTR a little bit weaker. Hood trying to hold above previous day high. Tesla making another run. Netflix still staying strong, as well as Apple. Meta starting to bounce. So Tesla had another run up pre-market here to around 496 before selling off into the pre-market, but now it's heading back up that way. Nvidia weak through lows. Chip stocks almost all weak. PLTR also weak. Bank of America, the strongest of the banks so far. Hood trying to stay strong. So Hood and Tesla. Tesla dipping a little bit back towards previous day high. Trading the 2 DTE options today. Tesla now dipping. Apple still holding. Indices getting weaker. Chips dragging everything down. And Goog. Goog is pretty weak. Tesla giving it up now. Bitcoin also dipping. NASDAQ just went red. S&P down to unchanged. Oracle still chopping near previous day low. Hood holding up pretty well. Netflix holding up well. Apple holding up well. Tesla trying to get back above previous day high now. Some volatility there for sure, but market's still staying weak. Tesla trying to rebound. Quick little dip and pop. Nvidia staying weak. Chips staying weak. PLTR's dip. Trying to get bought up. I'm looking at an early runner in Apple with the 277 halves calls. Trying to get filled a little closer to previous day high if I can. It's kind of taken off on me now. Apple dipped, popped right back up. It's kind of acting the strongest. Keeping my eye on Tesla too. We just broke all-time highs yesterday. It may have more room to run. If I trade Apple, it'll be the 500 calls. Did I say Apple? I meant Tesla. Apple might be giving us a little pullback. Oh my gosh, I'm too slow. Apple came back towards previous day high. I started putting in an order for Tesla, and I was too slow and missed Apple again. Missed it twice. Pushing through highs. S&P trying to stay green. IWM still at highs. Hood held previous day high. It's up at highs. Tesla's still dipping into the red a little bit. Now Hood's dipping, S&P, NASDAQ still pushing new lows. Hood now giving it up. Netflix staying strong. Apple still staying fairly strong. Apple ticked through highs of day. Not much follow through. I wanted to get in Apple before it pushed through highs today, not after. Still acting like one of the strongest.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
Tesla dipped
Order
into the
filled.
red, trying to rebound. Nvidia getting a little wicky at the bottom, but still pretty weak below yesterday's lows. Apple popped back up. Netflix kind of grinding up towards highs. No bounce in the indices yet. Now Apple's dipping back to pre-market highs. I do have an order ready in Apple. I want to see some sort of potential bounce out of the indices and see how Apple acts. It's on the 277.5 calls in Apple. If I take it. Every tiny little bounce in the indices getting pushed back down. So I'm just being a little bit more patient here. Chip stocks all pretty weak still. Bitcoin still coming down. New lows in the indices. Apple's still holding up pretty well. What's Hood doing? Hood's giving it up now. Giving up on the early strength. PLTR giving it up. Netflix is now dipping. Apple now acting like it's not going to hold. Yeah, AV Go-Go. Kind of coming down to that area on the daily chart where it's bounced a few times. Apple looking like it was trying to pop back up, but too much weakness. Too much weakness for the bulls. Let's see, is anybody strong? Chipotle's up 3%. Reddit now giving it up. Watson. Oh, I'm sorry. I clicked on QBTS on accident. It was right next to Reddit on my watch list, and then it jumped. I clicked on the wrong thing. Yeah, Reddit is holding up well. All right, S&P, NASDAQ dip starting to get bought up. Hood trying to bottom. Apple popped back up. Tesla flushed pre-market lows with a pretty aggressive bounce. I'm going to get in Apple calls. 277 half calls. Kind of chasing away from my level here, but it's continuing to show the most strength, so I'm looking for a push through highs. Didn't get filled at $1.35. There we go. Filled at $1.35 on the 277 half calls in Apple. A little bit more risk because I chased away from my level a little bit, but still pretty close. It's still not that far away. I mean, this chart is kind of deceiving.
Order cancelled.
Based on the range isn't too big yet.
Order filled.
Tesla back in the green.
Order filled.
S&P trying to go green. Russell the strongest. It pushed through highs again. Banks staying pretty strong. Apple kind of looking a little head fakey on that on that after my entry. Tesla back up to previous day high. If I trade Tesla, I'll do the 500 calls. I'm going to go ahead and jump in 500 calls in Tesla. No. Trying to get filled. Order's at 605 and it popped. I'm going to leave my order. I'm not going to chase. Apple's kind of dipping. There we go. Filled at 605 in Tesla. May end up being a quick cut in Apple here if it doesn't rebound. Bitcoin popping. MSTR back in the green. Apple, get back up there where you belong. What are you doing? Everybody's trying to bounce now. Apple must not be in cahoots with the crypto bros. Apple's like anti-crypto now. Tesla's the one I really wanted in today anyway, but it just had to go flush pre-market lows first, it looks like. And Apple, Apple just continues to be my nemesis, Watson. Big volume bar and MSTR on this bounce. I'll put a profit target in Tesla at 675. Actually, I want to go higher than that. Closer to high of day. I'll go 715 is my profit target in Tesla. I may bring that down a little bit. Let's see if it wants to rip, though, first. Bitcoin not pulling up the indices much. Pulling up Hood, pulling up MSTR and Coin, of course. Tesla's decent bounce happened about the same time. Chip stocks are not having it. They are not interested in the party yet. Amazon trying to hold above yesterday's high. Little bounce in the indices. PLTR getting a decent bounce. Bitcoin still ripping with volume. MSTR through pre-market highs. Let's just get one of those good old-fashioned all-asset rallies going. Chips are just kind of chopping at the lows. I'm going to lower my first profit target in Apple to 7 even. Amazon getting a little bouncy. Apple trying to creep back up. If I saw any more weakness after that 5-minute close below, I was going to bail, but it's giving it a little bit of a bounce. Tesla just needs a little bit more of a pop towards high of day to get me filled on my first profit target. And I mean, Apple's just kind of choppy. Looked like some strength at the beginning, and then it just kind of fizzled out. But it's trying to rebound with everything bouncing. So I'll give it a chance. Nice bounce in the S&P back to green. IWM through highs. Goldman through highs. Robinhood almost back to highs. Circle pushing through highs. Bitcoin futures now up 2.3%. Silver on another rampage at 4.5%. All-time highs. Gold's up almost 1%, not quite back up to its all-time highs from, what was that, October? Yeah, October 20th. I kind of just want to cut Apple here. I was really looking for some follow-through after that kind of dip and recover above previous day high, and it did not get the follow-through. Tesla not giving us quite the follow-through needed either. S&P chopping around unchanged. Yeah, Oracle through lows, down 4.5%. Bitcoin pausing. Tesla just holding at previous day high. Goog had a lot of volume on that move down. Now it's bouncing a little bit. It's too bad I didn't get a first profit target in Tesla. Could potentially look to add here if it just holds. Netflix dipped but back above pre-market highs. PLTR's bounce getting faded along with all the other chips. Chips staying weak. The market can't really go anywhere without the chips. Apple trying to get back above previous day high. Tesla still holding. VIX was down almost 2% at the open overnight. VIX is still down 1.5%. Not sure what you're looking at there, Dark Avenger. SPX trying to stay green. And VIX futures are down too. Crypto's still holding strong. Hood through highs. Yeah, Meta trying to get back up to highs today. Tezzy dipping now. Apple, no follow through. Apple's just chop. Tesla dipped below previous day high. Now it's trying to bounce back up. S&P's a little dip getting bought up. Bitcoin's still at highs. IWM at highs. Tezzy trying to make another bounce. With the decay, I'm going to move my first profit target in Tesla down to 680. Be back in a minute.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
Apple trying to dip again. No follow through. No strength. Just chop. S&P's a little bounce getting pushed back down. MU starting to bounce. One of the chips. Nvidia just chopping near lows. Netflix creeping up towards highs. All right, Apple, I'm going to get an order ready to cut here. S&P dipping back into the red. VIX hanging out around 16.36. No follow through in Tezzy either. No follow through in Tezzy. Still have my order ready to cut in Apple. It's just kind of every time I'm getting ready to cut, it kind of starts to act a little bit bouncy. So I don't want to cut it too quickly, but it's just straight chop. I mean, we're going to need to see something here soon. I've been in the trade for almost 30 minutes now. Tesla couldn't get any springboard action off previous day high. S&P is really just pretty choppy. NASDAQ was weaker to start, but chopping, and then the Russell is pushing up to yesterday's high. Bitcoin. That's springboard action, Dark Avenger. Look at a chart of Bitcoin right now. All right, Tesla dipping now. May have to cut Tezzy. All right, so I'm going to create a closing order in Tesla to be ready. If it doesn't bounce here, it's right at the previous all-time highs that it broke through yesterday. Nvidia creeping back towards lows. Both Apple and Tesla trying to bounce, but just chop. Bitcoin staying near highs. PLTR trying to bounce back up. MU definitely the biggest bounce of the chips. Everything else is staying pretty weak. Big bank staying relatively strong. Hood is pushing. Hood's up almost 4%. Hood is looking good. Amazon had a little aggressive bounce back above previous day high, but it's just kind of fallen asleep as well. Not much action here, my friends. Not much action. Try to take an early, if you're just joining, try to take an early runner off of Apple. It was holding previous day high when the markets were staying weak. Had this little dip and recover, so that's where I got in, and it's just been kind of chopping. Tesla kind of similar. It had that initial dip, flushed pre-market lows, and popped right back up as it was pushing through previous day highs where I got in. Got pretty close to a first profit target, but not quite high enough. Seeing some pretty decent premium decay here. So I may have to lower my profit target again. current profit target in Tesla is set at 680, but it would have to push through high of day to hit that, so I'll probably lower that again if I don't end up having to close it out. S&P just chopping around unchanged, currently in the red. NASDAQ has not been able to get back into the green after it fell in the first 10 minutes. IWM has been pretty straight up with little pauses, but it's getting rejected a little bit at previous day high. Bitcoin still hovering near highs. Chips look like they're making another leg down. AMD through lows, TSM through lows. Nvidia is still holding the lows.
Order cancelled.
Yeah, Goog hovering above 300.
Order filled. Order partially filled.
Bitcoin now pulling back slightly. TSM pushing through previous day low, AMD approaching previous day low. Same with SMH. Apple creeping back above. PDH. Tesla still hovering just below. All right, Tesla getting a little weaker here. Got my order ready to cut if it doesn't bounce. Netflix still at highs. Watching Tesla. It's got a couple minutes left here, but I'm going to have to cut if it goes much lower. S&P trying to bounce. Apple starting to bounce. Amazon starting to bounce. Hood still at highs. MSTR and coins still near highs with Bitcoin. Tesla now putting in a little bit of a wick. S&P back in the green. We need the NASDAQ to get in the green is what we need. It's trying. We need the chips to get on board with a bounce. Chips are starting to bounce, tiny. Amazon, nice bounce. Nvidia, a little bounce. Netflix through highs. Meta is about to squeeze Watson with a big push through highs. Tesla's little bounce didn't really do much. So still, I'm going to cut Tesla. Filled at 452 in Tesla. Apple started to look strong again and get pushed back down. Still holding previous day high. S&P's little push into green, got shut back down. Just sloppy choppy. Slop de chop. Well, we've got a dollar range in Apple for the day. 275, 276. $1 on a $275 stock. All right, Apple dipping again. Can't believe I wasted one of my bullets on Apple. What was I thinking, Watson? Elementary, my dear Watson. No, I don't want you to suffer just because I did something stupid. Amazon showing a little strength. Tesla's dip getting bought up. I still like both of the setups I got in. I just, zero follow through. Yeah, I'm already long MSTR with my swing trade. Meta pushing highs. Watson, get out while you still can. Get on the long side. S&P back in the green. All right, Apple's little dip holding me in again. Teasing me. Just keeping me in this chop, just decaying my premium away. Well, the good news is I've not had any stops on my AM tranches for my BICs. I'm up $1,600 on those already. Yeah, that can change quickly. Tezzy getting pushed back down. Goog has just had barely any bounces. Meta though, Meta acting strong. Amazon, I mean, it's still in a pretty choppy, tight range, $2, but showing a little bit of strength. Netflix, no more continuation through highs. AVGO putting in new lows. TSM putting in new lows. SMH putting in new lows. Same with SMCI and ARM. Chips got to bounce for anything to happen here. Hood is now rolling over. Out of tech and into Bitcoin, I guess. Big banks are kind of rolling over as well. A lot of sectors still green. But the two biggest red, XLK and SMH. Tech and chips. All right, Apple's dipping again. Might be time to pull the plug on Apple. Every time I say I'm about to pull the plug on Apple, it starts bouncing. It's like it hears me. Just enough to keep me in. S&P, NASDAQ dipping. NASDAQ almost down to lows now. S&P kind of coming down to the bottom end of that consolidation. MU, which had the biggest bounce of the chips, it's moved back down towards lows. PLTR, decent drop on that little dip. My next trade will probably come here if I would wait for the market to kind of seemingly like it wants to flush here and then wait for a reversal of some sort. It's kind of the thesis at this point. Not interested in getting short at these levels. I'd rather just wait for a flush and recover if it happens.
Order filled.
Tesla heading down towards lows. S&P breaking lows. NASDAQ breaking lows. Now IWM rolling over. Bitcoin now coming down. Apple dipping. Nvidia through lows. Tesla through lows. Amazon big dip. Google through lows. Meta, Microsoft, Netflix is dipping pretty good, but Meta and Microsoft holding up a little bit better. Apple just still within that first 5-minute range. Just choppy. VIX through highs of day, almost up to 17. Apple, I'm going to pull the plug on you. Let's see if it bounces again or if this is it. Or if it really happens this time. Sometimes Apple likes to show a little strength when everything else is dipping. It's just taking a nap today, though. It's not doing anything. Tesla flushing lows of day and pre-market lows. MU through lows, the strongest of the chips, is now in the red. Apple heard me say I was pulling the plug, so it bounced again. If I book profits on this Apple trade, it's going to be a Christmas miracle. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap the stream here. I'll post my Apple exit in the day trade channel. I'm going to wait for things to kind of flush out here and see if we can get any type of entry on a recovery. Otherwise, everybody have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you in Power Hour. Cheers.